Hi, Adrian.
Hey Emerson, how you getting on?
I'm great. How about you?
Thanks. Good. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah. So, Adrian, tell me your seeking story and what got you here. I'm sure you've heard this question plenty of times.
I have, and I knew you were going to ask, so I was thinking about it this morning. Um, yeah, I think my second story probably started when I was young, maybe when I was 5 or 6.
Hmm.
I remember having an experience. I was sitting in my dad's car.
Hmm.
It was a summer's day, and I just remember asking myself this question: what is this?
Hmm.
I don't even know if I used those words, but I had this feeling of just what is this,
Hmm.
And everything seemed to slow down. It's a really formative experience. It's one of my earliest memories.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then I suppose years later, when I was a teenager, I got interested in meditation. I found a meditation book, and I became really interested I was quite an anxious, quite a shy child. So meditation helped
Hmm.
with thoughts.
Yep.
Um, and I'm also, I suppose, I'm an Irish Catholic. So
Yeah.
when I was in my mid-teens, probably around 15 or 16, I became really immersed in Catholicism, and I used to go to mass a lot, benediction, rosary, just really embraced Catholicism. Um,
Hmm.
prayer was something I became very interested in. And then when I went to university, I was suppose about 18, the whole Catholicism thing sort of fell to one side a bit. And
Yeah.
became interested in other things when I went to university. But one of the first things I did at university was I joined a TM group. So I became
Mm.
interested in transcendental meditation, probably for about a year, 2 years, something like that. Um, suppose, throughout my 20s, throughout my 30s, I was always sort of meditating, doing guided meditations and reading books about meditation. I'm a big reader, so I always enjoyed reading about
Yep.
meditation. And then in my late 30s, I did a 10-day Vipassana course,
Okay.
one of those silent retreats, yeah,
Yeah.
which was very intense. I did enjoy it. When I came out of it, I felt very centered when I came out of it. I enjoyed the
Yeah.
silence. That was probably the thing I enjoyed most about it. But it also really hurt my knees as well. I have some knee problems, and I really had sore knees for a few days after that. I have to
Yeah.
say now.
Yeah.
Um, and then into my 40s, I started using Sam Harris is a meditation app called Waking Up.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so
Sam
I was
Harris. Yeah.
Sam Harris, yeah. So I was using his app, doing guided meditations, and then that introduced me to Rupert Spira.
Okay. Awareness.
And I did that for a few years up until up until last August. Last
Hmm.
August, I suffer from insomnia, so I'm always up in the middle of the night, listening to podcasts. And I think I had typed in something about always being awake at that
Hmm.
time of night, and that brought me to Angelo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's simply always awake. So, and that was like a thunderbolt. That really just was
Yeah.
wow. What am I listening to here? And that has led me down the whole. I've spent the last year and a couple of months listening to non-duality podcasts, watching non-duality on YouTube. So Angelo, Rupert Spira. I've had a meeting with Josh.
Oh, Josh
Um,
is great. Yeah.
Josh is really good. Yeah,
Hmm.
had a meeting with Eshwar as well.
Okay.
Colette Whiteman was another one.
Okay.
And I've been listening to just the whole YouTube, all the YouTube videos. Who else? David Bingham.
Hmm.
Um, who else? John Wheeler. Really enjoyed listening to John Wheeler as well. Reading his books, and then the YouTube algorithm brought up your videos as well. So I have been listening to your one-on-ones for the last sort of few weeks, maybe a month or so.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at just at the moment. Just really, in the last few weeks, I've started to become frustrated with the whole thing. I feel like
Yeah.
I've listened to all the podcasts, watched all the videos, And yeah, there's a real feeling of frustration just at the moment with the whole thing. You know, I really
Yeah.
feel stuck in seeker mode, just really stuck in that. I do enjoy watching the videos, and I do, you know, I do get moments of clarity watching them. And I've had definitely had a few glimpses, but it's like, how many videos do I have to watch? You know?
Yeah, when does it stop?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. That's seems to be a lot of seeking that has happened over the past, just the year, right? The past 2 years.
I'd say the last since last August 23, it's become
Wow.
really intense. Absolutely, really, really intense. Just yeah, it seemed to have stepped up a notch. You know?
You got into the neurotic, seeking now, right? It's almost like a neurosis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you believe at this very instance, this very second, if you cannot go to the past or the future? Just go directly. If you just have this moment, there's no past, there's no future. What do you believe at this millisecond?
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's in between nothing and not nothing? Let's go a bit further. I know you've heard this question, but it's some people say it's different when you're being asked it. So yeah.
That's,
So what's in between nothing and not nothing? What are you without language at this moment?
yeah, my mind is just reaching for concepts. You know, it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trying to bring
That's
it's trying
okay.
to bring
It's
phrases
not
in. You know.
it's not here right now though. It's not here right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not here right now. Just it's almost like there is this nothing, and then the mind wants to take over. What if you don't give it any traction? What if you cannot go to the past or the future and just really at this moment, there's just what do you believe at this very moment? If it's nothing, if you can't say what it is, then what's wrong with nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you cannot go to the past or the future, where are the thoughts?
Even though the mind keeps pulling me into the past and the future.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not here. It's not here. Don't give it, make it, it's irrelevant, right? You will try to go to the past or the future, but there's something here that cannot be said. That's what I'm trying to point out to, right? It's very simple. It's very direct. It does not really, it really does not require you doing or not doing. So it's between doing and not doing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So if it's nothing, then where is the thoughts at this nothing? Where is it? If you cannot go to the past or the future, where are the thoughts? Where are the problems? Is there any problem at this moment? Is there any, if there's no other moment, then this must be it. But the past, the thoughts will try to take you to the past or the future. But what if those are just insignificant, irrelevant? And there's this moment here that's always overlooked. What's awake is silent. And then what's asleep is thinking about the past or the future. What if you just come at this very moment, this very instance, and it's between doing and not doing? What's in there? It's very simple. The mind wants some fireworks and everything, but right now, saying so the mind wants some relief or whatever. But right now, there's complete relief. Because if the past does not exist, the future does not exist, then there's peace at this moment. It's just always overlooked because you're looking for your idea of what peace should be or what freedom should be. But if you just sober up, you know what I'm saying, from that delusion of the past or the future, then you're at this very moment. And it's very simple. It's very ordinary. The mind does not like this because it's irrelevant in this presence. And it's not a glimpse in the future because you're glimpsing. Where are you at this moment? If you cannot go to the past or the future, who are you? No idea, right?
It's just nothing there. It's just a space.
It's just space. Okay. So in this blankness, in this space, if there's no next and there's no future, then it must be infinite. See, the thoughts try to create a bookend. You know what I'm saying? Beginning and ending. But without the past and the future, where is the beginning and the ending? Without the past or the future, where's the belief? The past creates a reality to maintain in the future, right? But if there's no past, where's the reality? And let me go further. And everything that we say is made up. Everything that we think is made up. Every word is made up. It's just a bunch of letters. But there's something here that cannot be, they'll call it unthinkable, unspeakable, unknowable, right? Because you cannot say it. And here lies the peace that passeth all the understanding, and it's forever. Even the idea forever, even let go of that, saying? Come into clarity, right? The clarity, it's almost like the seeking just perpetuates a never-ending next. So what's in the beginning of seeking and the ending of seeking? What's in between that? Yeah, it's just this moment.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah. It's like waking up from a dream or a nightmare of seeking, right? And because you get caught up in that trajectory over, it's like a merry-go-round. Next. If all words are made up, then what's there to seek? If everything is conceptual, you're seeking concepts. What's in between a self and no self? It goes back into that, yeah. It's almost like you got into kind of like almost like an addiction of thinking in the next. Here's the opportunity to sober up, you know what I'm saying? And to end the endless watching of videos, because what's that going to give you? Again, it's unthinkable, it's unknowable. So why do you go with knowing or figuring things out when it's already unthinkable, unknowable, ineffable? So if you take away the words, if you take away the language, if you take Adrian away, because Adrian is just a thought, really, if you look at it, that perpetuates this over and over. Adrian wants to see no Adrian. Adrian wants to see... Adrian wants to see the enlightened Adrian, right? But there's no Adrian because it's made up. So it's in between Adrian and no Adrian.
Wow.
Yeah. How you doing, by the way?
Wow. Yeah.
Sobering up? Clearing up? Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Because teachers, even me, you know what I'm saying, will just give you more words. That's why I shifted the way that I deliver this, right? I haven't really been doing meetings, maybe once a month, once in a while, right? Or haven't been doing the talking head videos, because what's the point of that? The seeker will just buy what I'm saying, right? I don't want you to buy what I'm saying. That's why I ask you to go in between where there's really no in between. If there's no in between, then there must be no opposites. So we're living in a delusion of words. So if all words are made up, is a word better than the other? No. They just create opposites. So this is direct. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going really direct. because I've been doing this for such a long time. When I was a spiritual teacher doing consciousness awareness, inquiry, no one got out. And I was doing more radical stuff. No one also got out, because you're just saying that there's no me. It just becomes another belief system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? The curse of the glimpse is because you keep on glimpsing. The glimpse is basically when it's a curse, right? How do I
Like you
get
feel
this
so
far?
close. It
I'm so
feels so
close.
close
I'm
when you
almost
get a
there.
glimpse.
Just 20,000 hours more of video. I was waiting one day for the end of, like, you've reached the end of non-duality videos. So you've seen it all at one point, because I was just like you, saying. And I'm proud to say that people that does the one-on-one, they do end up seeking. There's hiccups sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because we're so accustomed to thinking, right? We're so accustomed to think that that's our reality. Our thoughts are reality. We don't even check it anymore. We believe our thoughts is reality. But if you go closer, it's kind of like looking at a mirage, right? Like, is that really there? You go up closer, like, oh, it's not there. That's what words are. That's what thoughts are. That's what beliefs are. That's what concepts are. That's what everything that we think and we say is based on that illusion that I am doing something. There's an I behind it. We do get like a little bit of kind of like, like clarity when we wake up in the morning, even that sliver, right? You're like, and then the thoughts come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For me, it was the next, like, how do I, even when I thought this is really silly, there was a time that I basically saw everything as God, basically, right? And then I started becoming a spiritual teacher, and I kept on waiting. So I was at the top of the mountain. I'm like, is there a higher mountain than this? How do I become everything? It never ends.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just realization after realization. But what if there's nothing to realize? And that's the ultimate realization.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's no levels?
Mm-hmm.
But there's no initial and ultimate, you know what I'm saying? Because these are just words. We still have to deal with our drama, you know what I'm saying? Some people might have to deal with trauma or therapy, that kind of stuff like that. This is like a band-aid almost for that. But what I'm trying to say is that when you wake up from words, then you also wake up from the past and the future, and you see it as nothing. And then you're in the moment, and there's peace, and there's authenticity, and there's life again. Then you're walking around again. Then you hang out with friends again. And then your roses of seeking ends. You might have some relapses here and there. But this is the end of seeking. Because everybody, including me, the old Emerson would just give you more words. Let's get rid of words. I'm saying, just come into this clarity. Let's go into that moment when that speaker, teacher, or guru realizes this prior to words, before they call it consciousness, before they call it awareness, before they call it the open secret, before they call it whatever new flavor of the word is, right? And stay there. Because people will say this cannot be realized, or it's unthinkable. But here's my 2 cents about it. And then people will say, and then some others will have prerequisites now of how to, you have to have this. No, I'm saying, it's all words. It's okay too, what I'm saying. How are you feeling? Are you
Okay.
feeling relieved a little bit?
A little bit. A little bit. I can feel. There's lots of thoughts wanting to come in.
Yeah, yeah,
Lots
it's okay.
wanting to come in, but it's almost like I'm able to. I'm not paying them as much attention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it, basically. It's like, if you're beginning to see that everything is made up, so why do you buy it? Or why do you believe it? Right? The word I is made up. The word Adrian is given by your parents. They made it up. You probably named after your uncle or someone. It's made up. But we don't see
Yeah.
the obvious. That's the obvious, right? The very naming is making up things. It's almost like, you know what? Oh, okay, I'll call that a tree. You know what I'm saying? I'll call that a sun. Oh, that's the ocean there. But is it really?
Just
Oh, there.
labels.
What's that?
They're just labels.
They're just labels. Yeah. What if you unlabel everything at this moment? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you seeing? Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Like if you look at, do you have pets, Adrian?
No, I don't
No,
have pets.
you don't have pets. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I would like to have, but I don't. No.
Yeah. Like the dogs, for example, they're so awake. You know what I'm saying? The cats, right? The
Yeah.
squirrels, like if you look around.
Yeah. I was looking at squirrels this morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And it's quite
birds.
fascinating
Yeah.
because here we are, we have an idea of awake or asleep, right? They don't have they don't have duality, right?
No.
No. And it's so fantastical though. Although I really love words, you know what I'm saying? We can create poetry and that kind of stuff like that. But I took it too seriously. When somebody said enlightenment, I'm like, that's that. I have to get that word. That's the most important word of all time, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I have to achieve. So you read words and words and words about enlightenment. Everybody has their versions of it. Everybody has their conceptual idea of what it is, right? But someone came up with that. Someone made it up, you know what I'm saying? And it just got passed
Yeah.
on. It's just the ultimate
Yeah.
thing and everything. But what's really ultimate and the opposite of ultimate? If you go in between words, then you see the quiet, silent reality, untouched by any ideas, will never be known, right?
Yeah.
And it's neither separate, neither whole, because you can't really put a finger to it. The moment that you label it as whatever, then you almost bastardize it, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And practical thoughts are okay. It's not about losing your thoughts because some, like for example, somebody's probably going to some traumatic event, like, thousands of years ago. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm just really caught up in the past, or I'm caught up in the future. When you go directly into this moment, if you go between past and future, there's no past and future. It's just all made up. And if you look at how happy children are, you know what I'm saying? The younger they are, before we learn, no, bad, wrong. And unfortunately, we have religion and spirituality and non-duality to make us think that we're not enough, that there's
Yeah.
something missing. Yeah. And to top it off, there's going to be masters of that, teachers and speakers that, you know, talk nonstop about, it's like I was talking to this 50-year-old, 80-year-old man who's been seeking for 50 years. And I love this. I've already added a video on the playlist. He's like, so he's done it all, right? He's gone through every single guru and every single teacher. And then he said, it's if they're like sending me postcards saying, wish you were here, but you can never get to where they are. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. That's
He's
lovely.
collected so many postcards, right? It's like they keep on
Yeah.
talking about this freedom or liberation or quietness, silence, satchitananda, awareness, absolute, all that kind of stuff, right? But they're just postcards of something that you will never get to because they're ideas. You cannot go to another idea. You can fake it. But what's in between all ideas? What's in the space between words? Unspeakable, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 And life becomes simpler and more vibrant for me anyway, right? Because here I was such an addict with seeking that it's almost like I joined a cult, you know what I'm saying? You know, the spirituality. You know, some people shave off all their hair. They go to a monastery, they go to a ashram, right? It's the same thing as going to a cult, right? And
Yeah.
then you are buying someone authoritative's idea about what you're studying. There's always someone at the top. So what I do here is I break that barrier and basically say, hey, Adrian, we're friends. Do you want to sober up? I got out. I haven't been this happy and peaceful in the past 8 years compared to my entire life. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I stopped buying the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see that everything is bullshit. Yeah. It's beautiful. Because you can have, you can be aware of awareness, or you can see that, or you can have a moment that there's no me. But that always ends. Or there's something in the next. How about we take away all the language? Go into that pristineness prior to language and beyond language. And like this other 88-year-old guy that I was talking to, teacher speakers can only take you so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grateful for them. Be grateful for them, you know what I'm saying? Because they have basically presented this idea that there's something here that is unthinkable, that you have to awaken to, or something, or drop away to see this. But there's between doing and not doing, what's in between. Yeah. So it's here already. You're looking at it. You've just been labeling it nonstop, thinking about the next. It's almost like you're gaslighting yourself over and over again.
There's nothing for me to do, is there?
Who's going to do nothing?
I know. Yeah.
An idea doing an idea. Yeah. A belief believing a belief. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's humbling, and it's also relieving.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to be, I love those 80-year-old guys. You don't want to be like 90 years old and, booking a session with me, and saying, hey, Emerson, I booked a session with you 30 years ago.
No.
No.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah. And that's what it's so beautiful. One of the older gentlemen, he got almost kind of like, he stopped and he goes, it's like bittersweet, right? Because he's at that age now. He goes, my body is not here. That, I'm not functioning. I have problems with my health now. And I spent all that time seeking for nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. And he got teary-eyed, and I got teary-eyed. I was like, yeah. For me, right, it's like I pushed away everything for this, right? I have great parents, you know what I'm saying? I have great siblings. I had romantic relationships that I basically put on the back burner. Marriage. even even financial freedom, because I gave away my sold my house and gave it away because I thought I had to do that, right? So I'm like a cautionary tale. Turn around. Cut your losses, you know what I'm saying? And don't get caught up before you get caught up in a belief system. Some of the people that gets really, really deep into this one, kind of like how I did, right? My friend would be like, I don't know what happened to you, Emerson. You used to be so full of life and now you're so serious. I'm like, oh, because you're not in a path. He goes, what path? My dharma. He goes, what dharma? I'm still grateful for it though, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because it brought so much clarity. But at the same time, I was in the mud for too long.
Yeah.
And I was just like hoarding all of these ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an app. I have on my phone. I have all these notes made,
Mhm.
to remind myself to be present during the day. And there's like hundreds of them
Oh my goodness.
that I keep. I actually I have them on random, so I can randomize them. And
Oh no.
they basically they just tell me just to be aware or to
But it
be get
reinforces
in.
that there's something missing or something wrong, or
Yeah.
that you're not enough, that that you're not aware, you know what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff, right? Reinforce that there's a self doing this. It's just a reinforcement over and over again. I had a version of yours like that. I had this, leather bound, vegan leather bound at the end, books, journals that I would write in calligraphy, you know what I'm saying? Of all of the beautiful quotes that makes me go, oh wow, right? But they're just words.
Yeah.
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 So I threw them out because that just made me neurotic, right? And I was like, how come I can't get into that clarity as Nisargadatta or Ramana,
Yeah.
or how come I?
Yeah.
But we're all in the playing field without words, in the same playing field. We're just making it up as we go along with life.
Yeah.
But there's something here that can't be made up, and that's not what you. It's not what you think. It's what you cannot think about. Meaning that you don't have to think about it. It's here. It's over. It's present. It's simply always awake.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your dog?
He's just trying to get out. Just a second.
You're okay. You're
Just a
okay.
second. Okay. Just
No
looking at
worries.
me like, they like coming in and out. You know what I'm saying? Sorry about that.
You're okay.
So yeah, so watching those one-on-ones, how did you feel when you were watching those one-on-ones? It's so different from what's out there, is what people tell me, because it takes away the speaker, takes away the
Yeah.
hierarchies.
Yeah. there's resonance. There's definitely resonance with some of them. You just, especially with some of the stories that I can recognize myself in them so
Yeah.
much. And as you say, there's people taking years and years, and
Yeah.
there's just that moment of clarity. And I have got that moment of clarity, but immediately when I'm watching the video, I'm like, well, what has Emerson said there? What has that person said?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to replicate that when I've stopped watching the videos. And,
Yeah.
I kind of find myself, it becomes like a mantra. I try to look for
Yeah.
mantras to, I'm trying to get between words. So I'll
So
be,
the older gentleman, you know, figured it out that what I was doing. He goes, it's a trick because there's really no in between because there's no opposites, right? So when you fall into that trick, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It will click. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's all a mirage, basically. And then the mirage starts again when you pull back, right? When you go
yeah,
close into it, it's almost like, is it really there? And then you go closer, you're like, no, it's not. And then you step back again and it's there again. But it's not really there. It's just a mirage. It's just
yeah,
like words, they're not really there. Like
yeah,
thoughts, they're not really there. If you hone into it, go close to it, go in between, it's a trick. There's nothing in between because there's nothing opposite.
no,
Yeah. And that's why when people do art, people do sports, right? They hone in and the thoughts are not there.
hmm yeah, the flow.
The flow, yeah, it's the flow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why I love walking. Right this morning. Oh,
See,
because there was a time change this morning, right? So, I was able to not really sleep in because if you have a dog, it doesn't matter. like we have an hour. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're up, I'm up. Let's just go walk. So we had an extended, long, long, long walk, right? Dark, beautiful, silence, right? And then there's that break of the sun, the orange, red sky, right? When the sun is rising. Um, I used to meditate during those hours and train my dog not to disturb me until like I finish all my meditation.
yeah,
And then here we are, you know what I'm saying? Um, just looking at the sunrise, sitting there, you know what I'm saying? Just sitting under a tree. How beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And we missed that out in our, you know, persistent looking for something in our head when it's just all in our
yeah,
head and there's not even a head.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's not even a head.
No, it's not even a head to pop. That's the pop, is that there's no, it's almost like, oh my goodness, what the hell? It's a what the hell moment. You're like, oh. And if you see some people that are just so caught up in their thoughts, they look around. It's like waking up from a storm of thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think everyone's just try to get here as well. But because there is, it's almost like it's passed down information, right? A lot of kind of like regurgitation of teachings and stuff like that, the reverence of teachings, but reverence of what? What are teachings really? What are ideas about this really? It's almost like the more vocabulary that you have about non-duality, the more that you suffer.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. The more that you kind of like almost people have been telling me to do more talking head videos. I'm like, I don't think it's necessary. Maybe I'll do an in-between video. Or even my meetings, I said, don't ask me questions anymore. Let's just go right at it because Q&As are pointless. What, you just get more answers for something that can never be answered? And everybody will say that, right? That this is unthinkable, unknowable, ineffable, or this is it. But this is it now becomes a mantra, a belief system, or this. I was about to release a book called This, and I'm like, I'm sick of this. Let's get rid of that, even that word, because I thought that would be the easiest way to grok something that cannot be grokked. It's just, we just, because who's that really, just who's saying this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I actually thought about getting a tattoo at one stage after I'd read Nisargadatta, and I was just going to get a
I
tattoo
am
that
that.
said, yeah, you know. And then I thought about it, it's like that's just would be,
I
yeah.
have a tattoo there.
No. What is that? What is that? What does that
Oh,
say?
it's just love without conditions.
Okay.
Yeah, I was more into, I went through the bhakti phase, the jnani phase, the karma phase, right? So all roads to enlightenment, really, right? So, and I'm like, okay, which one? What's next? I've done it all. Come on. How can I get this? But the one that's trying to get this is just an idea. An idea trying to get an idea. And the idea becomes a belief that I got this. But belief changes all the time, right? And all of a sudden, right? If one day you're walking and it's gloomy and rainy, you're like, oh, I lost it. Because it's not sunny. It can't always be sunny. It can't always be love and light. There's doom and gloom as well. But that's what happens with non-duality. There's the love and light non-duality, and there's the doom and gloom non-duality, and everything else in between. And everybody's just intellectualizing it. You know how many forums there are on Facebook about non-duality? So much.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody's idea about this, somebody's idea about that, somebody's interpretation about this, but they're just basically like word salad masters.
Yeah. I'm always very conscious because I
Including me,
come from an
I'm saying,
Irish.
because I did that too.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to
Yeah.
say that I'm better or whatever, right? Because that's just another concept, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I came from, because of my Irish Catholic background, was very, I've been very heavily influenced by Catholicism, and I really don't want to. I'm always very wary about replacing one belief system with another.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
This is not a belief. Did I give you any belief today?
No,
No.
there's none.
Good. Did I teach you anything?
Nothing,
No. Good.
nothing,
Okay.
no. And yeah, I have a shelf of books, about meditation and stuff, and
Garage sales are great. Donating. Or if you like barbecuing, bonfire is good.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Use them for entertainment purposes only, but when it becomes your narrative, what I'm saying? You become an identity again. I'm a meditator, I'm a non-dualist. It's already enough that there's Adrian. So there's going to be an enlightened Adrian now, or not an enlightened Adrian now, like a meditation Adrian, a teacher Adrian, whatever, right? I'm at
that's
peace with
just a
this.
thought.
Yeah, I'm at peace with this thought called Emerson, right? Because it's just a thought, right? So whatever seems to come out, the authenticity, I'm like, okay, that's it too. You know what I'm saying? There's no more second guessing, no more kind of like being shame or guilt or anything like that, right? Because it's just present. And there's contentment because I'm not like looking for I used to go to even obscure bookstores. I'm like, maybe there's some old stuff that I can find about non-duality that's not printed, Or my ritual every Friday is because when they release books, I'm like, I'm going to type in consciousness. Maybe there's new books because I've read them all. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And my business should not be sustainable because I don't retain any followers. I get rid of them. But apparently there's a lot of people that are going through that rounds of going to many different teachers, right? And they sometimes end up with me because they it's almost like I can't, I've gone through all of these teachers already. They're great, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, teaching can only take you so far.
Yeah.
Even though teaching from more of the radical is still a teaching, right? Anything that you believe, like there's no me, there's no one here, there's no self, it's almost like a dissociation. It's almost like a cognitive dissonance, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Because you feel that there is something here, you think that there is someone here, and then it's, and if you look at it, it's earnest way of basically trying to get you at peace. But because of the presentation, it serves the one that's trying to get rid of itself. So it just reinforces it over and over again. Because even trying to get rid of the self is self-motivated.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So any
Yeah.
self-practice, is self-maintenance. Even trying to go to no self is self-maintenance.
Yeah.
Going into body, saying, doing self-inquiry, it's just a merry-go-round. It's just like a different ride again. You're still in a circus of seeking, right? Get out. You know what I'm saying? Do you have family, Adrian? Do you have kids?
No, I don't have kids. I don't have kids now. No, I have brothers and sisters, and I have nieces and nephews. So
You're
yeah,
like me.
yeah,
Yeah. I enjoy, like later on, what I'm going to hang out with my nieces and nephews. There's this robot movie that supposedly makes everyone cry, so I'll take them to that.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've just
eat.
spent the last few days with my family. My father turned 80 years old,
Oh,
so
wow.
we've had a big family celebration the last few days, which has been good. And yeah, you know, um,
That's great. Where
yeah,
about in Ireland are you?
I'm in Armagh,
Okay.
Armagh. So I live on it's in the north of Ireland.
Okay.
So I live on the hill where St. Patrick built a cathedral, where he built a
Oh,
church.
wow, wow,
So I
wow.
live a lot of tourists come to
I
visit.
also
So it's
I also grew up Roman Catholic, so
okay, okay,
we ever it's my mom, like we would pray the rosary of the Angelus, at 6 o'clock, very similar to
yeah,
Irish Catholics. Right?
yeah.
The shame, the guilt, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
wow, yeah,
The Holy Week, right? The
yeah.
fasting. So I was primed for non-duality. It's like prep school, you know what I'm saying, for
Yeah,
for the suffering of non-duality.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that just went to a bigger cage, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because non-duality just becomes another belief, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's beautiful though, right now, just because it's almost like I was at war, with my thoughts for decades, right? And now it's like, okay, you know what? Ceasefire.
yeah. You
Right?
put your weapons down. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They come and go. There's personal thoughts, but really, I don't even think about thoughts anymore, right? It's just irrelevant to me, right? Why measure something that is not even really there? A lot or less, who cares, right? But I used to be a thoughtaholic that when it's almost like a bottleneck, right? When I went directly to it, I could not even speak. I was like, oh my goodness. And someone like wake when you wake up from a really, really, lucid nightmare and you think that everything happened for real. And then you wake up and you're
yeah.
like, you're stunned. So it's like that for like a month.
Wow.
because I was such a seeker, right? And then when I got back, I was like, oh my goodness, I have all of these books. I have all of these notes. It's almost like you feel like you went into a psychosis of words, and then you become sane again, right? And then you look around, everybody kind of like you, everybody is still thinking and plotting in their head. And I'm like, the world is insane. But it's okay, it's a game, right? And there are really no others if you really look at it. If you unlabel everything, then there's really nothing that's ever been separated. We just think that we are we or me or others.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you start talking about this, then you're the insane one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because sometimes I bring it up in conversations, but I mean, nobody. Yeah, people do think you're insane when you
Yeah.
talk about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm making it also very relatable that people that don't even know what non-duality is, that are trapped in their minds, they can just go in between and they're like, what the hell? Right? So it's becoming more accessible. And then some people will credit, that's not non-duality. No, there's no non-duality. It's just a word.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people have reverence over the traditions. And I was such a lineage kind of guy. Like, the character is very loyal to a fault, right? Very loyal, even though people are beginning to kick me out of the lineage because I'm saying something, something that's new, and I'm not really respecting, I guess, the words of others, and really saying kind of like, that's just also crap. Because there was clarity here, but I just didn't know how to speak about it because I'm like, I might muddy it, right? So, and there was really no need because there was peace there already. I didn't have any insecurities that I needed to pad it up with followers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that already as a spiritual teacher, so I've been there. There's a lot of suffering, saying when you uncheck your insecurity by having followers and traveling all around like an important man, and one day in a quiet time you're like, what am I doing? And I'm sure some of the teachers and speakers will have that clarity, right? And it's okay. It's just a game. It's a play. I'm going to stop the recording because I'm going to tell you something.